Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Happy New Year and a new decade. And as we enter this season of change and excitement, I want to take a moment, or really a whole episode, to celebrate with you guys and with this amazing community, because I feel like we really all connect, even if it's virtually or just through this, amazing sport. It means so much. And I just feel so blessed, to be loved by and appreciated by this community through this podcast and through this platform that I've created. And it would not be this way without you guys. So I wanted to celebrate with you guys, throw a little podcast party, and talk a bit about, the podcast, but also reflecting on the past year with you guys. And I appreciate those of you who sent in some questions, funny stories, takeaways, all the things that we're going to be getting into today. And I have some surprises in this episode too. So today's episode will be a little bit different. I'm going to answer some of the questions I received from you guys through my Instagram, that's celestial_fit, as well as some funny stories from the competitors, and not just the ones I've interviewed, because I really asked more so the NPC competitors, the people who follow me. And then I'm going to also express some of the main takeaways people have had from listening to the show. And I'm going to be sharing 3 questions you can ask yourself heading into the new year that came from an immersive online workshop I did with the members of my on-demand mindset coaching platform during our monthly group call. And of course, I'm going to be giving you some insight into what's next and what I need from you to continue making this podcast successful and amazing the way that it has been. And I want to kind of reflect first and just say that when I started this podcast in May of 2018, I saw a gap in the bodybuilding world, and this division that I love so much and I'm so passionate about just wasn't being served that much or given the attention or credit I felt it deserved. And know many of you would agree with me on that. So I wanted to create a space for competitors to learn from each other, as well as to just share the real stuff, so we know that we're definitely not the only ones going through it. And honestly, I was surprised by how much support this show has gained over the last year and a half or so. And it's been so rewarding and fun for me, not just interviewing the pros, but also, bringing on the coaches and doing some mini-sodes here and there and just having fun with you guys and connecting through Instagram or through the virtual space, Facebook, all these different places that I get to connect with you guys. Some of you are on my email list. Some of you have gone through my post-show series or have downloaded the competitor card deck or communicate with me one-on-one and have even signed up to work with me as clients. And it's been so powerful and amazing. And this podcast in general, just as a platform, I feel has allowed us all to connect in new ways that I never imagined was possible. And I hope to continue to surprise you guys in the coming year with the podcast and some of the ideas I have up my sleeve. And I just especially want to say thank you, because of you and all the listeners, we have hit 186,000 unique downloads, and we're in countries all over the world, which means you listening wherever you are also probably listening with someone else, a sister in bodybuilding, a sister in the sport, maybe even someone who's thinking about the sport, and we're able to connect and learn from each other. I've had people in my gym come up to me and say, "Hey, I actually started listening to your podcast and I'm thinking about competing." And I was like, "What? Like, how'd you even know about my podcast, find it?" Like, that's been so rewarding and amazing to me. And I appreciate those of you who have left reviews and ratings, and those of you who download and share and post about it and implement the insights and join me every week, because that's what helps this platform to grow and helps us all to connect even more. I've developed amazing friendships. I've been able to learn from you guys. I've been able to just create an impact that I did not even really realize was possible. And I feel incredibly blessed and grateful for this community. So thank you guys for helping me make that possible. It does not go unnoticed, and it really helps the show to reach more people. And I also really quickly want to just say thank you to those of you who are patrons on patreon.com/celestialfit to help the production of the show. It goes a long way. You know, I do believe a little bit goes a long way, and it does mean a lot to me. And it's super cool to see those of you who have or are currently supporting the show in this way. So thank you so much for that as well. I want to continue to make this podcast the place for competitors. And, you know, when I started in May 2018, I remember like I said, there wasn't really anything out there. And since then, I will say there's been some growth in the industry where bikini is getting a lot more attention. Why? Because it's such a fast growing division, and this part of the sport is so popular. It's attracting so many people. And so I want to say, you know, thank you guys for helping make that possible, because I really wanted that out of this show, and I really wanted that for the bodybuilding world and this sport. And because of this, I've been able to form amazing connections, even with other, you know, leaders in this industry, and we're making a difference together. And that's been so cool. So I want to get into this, and I figured I would start with the submissions for the funniest things that have happened to some girls. Now, this might be kind of awkward. Well, at least maybe awkward for me, because I'm reading them, but I may not laugh. And it doesn't mean I didn't think they were funny. It means I already read them and probably giggled. But I'm hoping those of you who are listening do end up giggling and laughing. And if not, you could at least giggle and laugh at the fact that maybe you didn't think it was that funny. So anyway, I'm also going to share these people's first names, but not their last and not their Instagram handle, because some of them, I don't know if they want to be shared. So we're just gonna get into it. This is kind of fun. Make sure you stay tuned throughout the whole episode, though, because I'm going to answer some questions I got that were really cool. And I'm going to be sharing those I'm going to share 3 questions you can ask yourself in the new year, going into the new year. These are questions from my on-demand mindset coaching platform that I did in our monthly group call. So you guys are going to get a little sneak peek of that. And I will have a surprise, a little giveaway at the end. So you're not going to want to miss it. And if you fast forward to the end, maybe I'll quiz you. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, here we go. All right. So Charlene says she went on stage bloated because she had to go number 2, which feels so weird saying number 2. It's like, we all know what that means. But she had to go number 2 and her coach wouldn't let her. But you know what's funny about that? Like, the reason I've shared that one is because, like, there are times where you just can't do it. Like, you, in the sense, not like can't do it as in you physically can't. I mean, like, you can't do it because you are lined up and ready to go, or you don't know when they're going to call your class. So I totally can relate to that. I totally understand. And it sucks. I remember the night before my show, I physically couldn't do it. And I could see it on my body. I could see the bloat. It was almost like highlighted. And I remember someone, I don't remember who, but I remember someone said, like, it's like they could see the outline of it, which is hilarious to me. But anyway, Emma said she wasn't even allowed to go to the bathroom for the hour that they held her in the line. And she went on stage with pee down her leg and a full bloated bladder. When I read that, I was like, this is a joke. Like, there's no way you went on stage with pee driven down your leg. I would be so pissed. Like, I can't even imagine that. So sorry that happened to you, Emma. I would love to know what the judges had to say about that. Or what you did. Anyway, hopefully you're not renting your suit out. Okay, so Brianna says this one got me, by the way. Oh my gosh, this one got me. So Brianna says her silicone boob fell out of her top during prejudging. Like, what the heck? I cannot even imagine. Like, I would not have even known what to do about this. Like, did you pick it up? I want to know what you did, because I seriously, I don't know what I would do. I would probably just keep posing and then do like a little pop down to the floor. But it's easy to say that when you're in that headspace. But I know, like, from a psychological perspective, when something like that happens, you're taken out of your normal state. And so you don't think as clearly. So I'm really curious as to what you did. Jenny says she moved to a tiny town to buy a food scale, but no one knew what it was. And I was like, that's straight bodybuilder problems. Like, I definitely, I've looked up food scales. One time I looked up food scales and I went to the store and I couldn't find them, but then I ended up finding them. But I bought like the tiniest one. I realized that was a big mistake. So I kind of can relate, but I can't imagine people not even knowing what that is. I mean, you would assume like bakers or kitchen people would know what that is. So Um, Jen says she uses clip-on earrings, but was so afraid they would fall off that she glued them on with Bikini Bite. That is wild, okay? Like, I use clip-ons too, and they are super tight, like, almost painfully tight, but that's how I knew they would be good. So I actually get the nervousness that you would have, or the fear of them falling off, because I was like, "Oh my gosh," and I remember I would shake my head, and I would walk around the house with them on when I first got them, just to make sure that they wouldn't fall. But yeah, I mean, did that make it hard to take them off? Like, what did you do? How did you get them off from there? Becca said she had to ask a guy, "Is this fan taken?" backstage at the tanning station. Honestly, this is something only competitors would understand. So many funny tan stories could be shared. Like, I'm 100% positive that so many of you listening have a funny tan story. Like, even Kelsey said she peed all over her tan, which I'm almost positive that every competitor has done this or come close to doing it. Because one time I tried, oh my God, I don't even know why I'm sharing this. One time I tried to do the pee in the cup type of thing. Maybe I've shared this on the show before. It totally backfired on me. The cup like totally collapsed and I got pee everywhere. So I'm never doing that again. I don't even recommend it to people to do. I'm like, hey, if you want to try the whole peanut cup thing, maybe just buy the professional looking ones. But I don't know. I'm not into that. No red Solo cups for me, or whatever Daisy Dixie stuff. No, just pee normal and have them fix me if I need it. Jess says she got her tan done the day before a show. Then she went to a softball game and had to use heated seats the whole time because of how cold she was. Pretty sure every single person is just perpetually cold who does this sport. Like, you're just perpetually frozen. You feel like you're walking on ice all the time. It's just your fingers are frozen, your toes are frozen, you're always cold, you're constantly in a jacket. Like, your shape is sweatshirt. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. I remember I worked at a gym and I always wore sweatpants, sweatshirt, all this stuff. Because I liked being comfy and like getting dressed up, and two, because I was just cold all the time. And then I remember someone saw my bodybuilding photos, were like, "That's what you're hiding under all there?" It's like, yeah, I guess I just like never show it because I'm always cold. So, excuse me. Okay, so I got a few questions for me to answer. So they were submitted by listeners to ask me. And I thought these were really cool questions. And I super appreciate you guys submitting them. And I hope you liked the funny stories. I thought those were cute. And I would actually love to do more of that or hear more. So Courtney wanted to know what my goal was in starting this podcast and if I believe I've accomplished that goal. And I just love this question so much because I started this podcast for a few different reasons. I did talk about it in the the year birthday episode. But I did start it for a few different reasons. And honestly, many of them are even said in the show intro. But I did partially start this from a selfish place of wanting to know for myself if the pros, struggle or still struggle, I should say, in some of the ways I was at the time. And also because success leaves clues. And I figured if I want to become a pro, I should learn directly from the pros. And of course, you guys as well. So when I decided to full on make it a podcast and not just an idea in my head, I felt really motivated to go beyond surface level and have a vulnerable yet insightful conversation with all the pros that I bring on the show. I wanted it to help other competitors to see that even the most elite athletes go through their ups and downs, which is part of the intro. And after launching it, I wanted it to become one of the go-to bikini podcasts or podcasts in general for women who are interested in the lifestyle and the sport. I saw how quickly people were taking to the show, and so my vision really expanded from there, and I started developing more goals. Like, when I started it, there was no business goal, there was no personal gain from it. It just kind of evolved on its own. And I actually do believe I've accomplished a lot of the things that I set out to accomplish. It not only was the first super active bikini podcast at the time, but I've had so many girls who say this is their favorite podcast, their podcast they look forward to every week. I've had so much positive momentum through it. I have over 5 podcast highlights on my Instagram. That takes a lot to fill up, and that's super cool for me. And I will be honest, sometimes I go through them just to bring myself up and keep me motivated. And I think that this podcast has helped spread positive connections in the bodybuilding community, and especially among bikini competitors. it's really done more than I ever imagined it would, and it continues to surprise me. So I also started it in hopes of, like, just totally transparent. I started in hopes of improving my own conversation skills and connecting more with people and making more friends. And all of that has happened too. I work from home. I went to school through online college, and I still am. I pretty much only got out when I went to the gym or grocery shopping. So I wanted to be able to connect with people more. And who better to connect with than people who have accomplished things I want to accomplish, or people who I can relate to. And so not only that, but, not only becoming friends with some of the athletes who have come on the show, but becoming friends with many of you listeners. And that was actually on my vision board too for this past year, was just to make new friends. And that's really happened. And this podcast and this platform has given me an opportunity to do that. And I want to encourage any of you who have thought about maybe reaching out to me or connecting. Like, I am always open, and I always am surprised when you guys say, like, I can't believe you responded. Like, I love to connect with you. I love to hear what you have to say. I love reading your responses. I love seeing your guys' posts. Like, I really do love this community and this sport, and I hope that we can continue to connect together this way, even though I'm pretty introverted, but that's also why I really wanted to start this and improve my conversation skills. Not that they were so bad, but I knew that they could get better, and this really helped me to do that. Holly wants to know if I want kids one day and if competing affects that. So I definitely want kids one day, and I think competing can impact my ability, or really any competitor's ability to have kids, for sure. Like, whether you're a natural athlete or not, the sport demands more of you than just living and going about your day-to-day life. And, like many sports that get taken to extremes or professional levels, it can threaten your hormone health and therefore your function. And I'm not qualified to speak on fertility or the impact of all of this, but I will say that the core of bodybuilding is very healthy, when you consider the nutrition and exercise that goes into it, and that being at the forefront. But I do think that, it's the extremes that can test that, and some bodies are just different. Like, I used to always lose my period if I dropped below 145 pounds. And then there's some girls who are like the leanest they've ever been, and they're still having, healthy periods. And those of you who are avid listeners know I didn't have my period for so long that when I got blood work done, they said I was in menopausal levels, and I was like heartbroken because I thought that that would impact my fertility. And so I made it a point to get that under control. Now I've had my period for a year straight, in January, and have since learned from that experience. But I think that if you talk to your coach, your doctors, and your own body, you're going to learn more about yourself and your own needs. But routine blood work, history, and your protocols are going to be important to monitor and keep in mind. So while I'm not qualified to speak on it, I do think, the best advice I could give is just pay attention to your body, pay attention to the signals, and make sure you're communicating with the professionals. Holly also wants to know about my ultimate life goals. And this one's so funny because ultimately I would like to accomplish a lot of things, which would take up like a whole episode to even get into. But I will say in a nutshell that I want to bridge the gap between competitors and mental health professionals. I'm obtaining my master's in clinical mental health counseling so I can become a licensed professional counselor. And eventually I see myself not only speaking on panels and at conferences or events for bodybuilders, but also for other mental health professionals and helping them understand bodybuilders and their needs. I think that being a bodybuilder myself, I have a perspective that other counselors or mental health professionals or even mindset coaches just don't have. And I want to continue providing bodybuilders with the support they need in their relationship with food, their body, and their goals without making them sacrifice their love of the sport, which I think the majority of the mental health field tries to claim is necessary for competitors to do in order to make peace with those different things. So I see myself having my own eating disorder recovery center or leading international group therapy retreats, as well as providing online counseling. And, even though I'm running my own business right now, helping competitors heal their relationship with food, their body, and their goals, as well as overcome the post-show blues and have the most fulfilling preps and improvement seasons, I want to continue expanding my knowledge and expertise to really be the authority on this in both fields. Like, I'd love to develop my own counseling form or process that other counselors could become certified in to help competitors who may come knocking on the door. Like right now I've developed the PTG, the Peace Through Growth process, and I use that in my post-show program, and I use that in my food relationship healing and discovery program. So, I see that developing more as I develop my own knowledge and skill sets and continue gaining experience. And, personally, I, of course, want to own a home with beautiful mountain views and be endlessly in love with my boyfriend, Robbie, and create a family together. And I want to travel all over the world as an IFBB pro and for fun. I want to speak on stages in front of thousands of people, write another best-selling book. I'm hoping to do this once I gain licensure, actually. I already have the idea and everything, and I've even outlined my next book, but I put a hold on it because I know I can provide so much value now, and I continue to, and I'm sure you guys have seen that in my testimonials and all the success that I've generated with my clients. But at the same time, I think once I gain licensure, I'll have even more to add to it. Right now, though, I do have a best-selling book out. It's Believe Your Way to Badass. So if you haven't gone through that, absolutely recommend that you do. Essentially, I really want to find more ways or create more ways to give back and serve others as well. I guess what I want most is to eradicate self-loathe in minds all over the world, because I know how powerful and important self-love is. So I know that there's a lot, but I have some massive goals and big visions. I know that's going to change over time, because this all really, everything I shared, well, not everything, but a good portion of it, especially in regard to like the counseling stuff, that only like started popping up in my mind this past year, about like 4 or 5 months ago when you hear this episode. And so it's been something that, because the nudges were so strong, I knew I had to pursue it. And I'm so glad that I have, and I am. And it's been really empowering to just like go through this process. Now, the last question I received was from Brianna, and she asks, what is the biggest thing you have learned about yourself this year? I love that question. And this one really got me thinking. I had a few thoughts cross my mind on this. And I think it's that I can not only prove myself wrong, but I can also surprise myself. And the more I listen to the nudges I receive, like I was just talking about, like from my higher self, then the happier I am. And I learned that I'm truly making an impact and a difference. Not that I didn't know that before, but I feel like I really accepted that and saw that and learned that I've really found my people or my niche in serving the bodybuilding communities, to what has always been my mission, to build more than just a body. And I feel so connected to my mission and my vision that I literally just shared with you guys. On a more personal note, and I hope this makes sense, but I learned that I tend to seek external sources to validate or fulfill my needs immediately when one of my usual sources or people is like threatened. And I've learned to overcome this and remind myself that it doesn't have to be there 24/7, but it's the fact that it has been there and is so strongly desired by me that shows me it's meant waiting for or persisting for or being patient for. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head and, as a personal lesson learned. I did also learn to be patient in the grand scheme of it all, from life to bodybuilding to personal growth to business development. And I also realized how much more freeing it is to not try to be perfect with every single thing, to make prep more of a lifestyle feel than anything else, like not putting so much pressure on myself all the time. That's been really powerful for me. So now I want to this is the stuff that puts a smile on my face, okay? Like, this is stuff that really fulfills me. This is what keeps me going and producing these episodes week after week. I'm going to share some of the biggest takeaways that were submitted from listeners. So you can probably hear yours if you submitted one from the podcast. So the reason I wanted to share these was, one, to, give myself a confidence, but no, I'm just kidding. Pretty much because I think it's great to hear what other people have benefited from the show, so you can be inspired to go back and listen to more. Also, when we hear other people's takeaways, we gain different perspectives and we realize, hey, I never thought about that. Or, hey, I learned that too. That's really cool. So I'm going to share a few of them. So Christine says she learned to give herself some grace and not be so hard on herself. Courtney says she didn't even know where to begin with answering this question, and she's so grateful since her state of mind has changed for prepping and off season with so many improvements. Side note, guys, I want to just say, so many people message me like every single week with things that they've taken away from the show. And that means so much to me. And I know you guys also message the athletes, and I know it means so much to them because they'll message me and tell me how cool it is. So thank you guys for that. Christy said she learned that everyone's journey is so different and special, so she doesn't need to make hers fit into any mold. When I read that, I was like, yes, that is powerful. Andy said that she loved hearing everyone's ritual or the first thing they do before going on stage because it's inspired her to have her own. I hope I get to hear that one day. Brianna said she learned that even the pros don't stick to their plan 100%. I think a lot of people have that similar takeaway, and it kind of can relieve that pressure for sure. Jenny says she learned that she's not alone in her competition journey or the challenges she faces in life. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about that really makes me feel like, wow, my podcast is making the difference. And it's making the difference that I wanted it to make. And it continues, like I said, to surprise me with how it makes that difference. So that was really cool to see. Becca said she learned how to handle post-show and that this podcast is what prepared her to stay on track, which is amazing to hear since that's part of my bread and butter. And I love talking to athletes on the show about it. So it's really rewarding to know that it's been helpful. Danielle says her biggest takeaway has been being comfortable with your body and not worrying about what the scale says. Awesome. Becca says knowing your why for competing and loving your body in every stage. Cool. I'm so glad these have been some of the takeaways. You guys know that's part of my big mission. Jess's big takeaway was knowing you have to love and find yourself outside of competing and trust and enjoy the process. Yes, so many athletes came on this year and talked about that. That's been super cool. Emma says, this one's so cute. Emma says, how dang cute everyone is and how adorable my laugh is. Okay, my laugh is pretty adorable. No, I'm just kidding. But that's super cute and sweet. And I really appreciate that because when I was having the episode with Alexandria, I remember we were laughing so much. It was just so funny. And we were just laughing in everybody's ear, but I hope that, these episodes make you guys laugh and smile too. I've had people say they know when I'm smiling on the show, which is super cool. I'm not going to tell you when. You have to guess. So just kidding. Anyway, she also said that nothing is impossible and all walks of life, journeys, and experiences, no one regrets their own journey. And I love that because I'm consistently amazed by the guest stories we hear, and I really do a lot of research for every episode, for every athlete I speak to, because I want to pull out those stories. I want to pull out the good stuff. I want to pull out the real, the raw, the vulnerable, go beyond surface level so that I can bring those to you guys and help you to see these lessons or to get that reminder really that we need and I need as well. So that's super great to hear. And I want to say, thank you guys for submitting all of those things, all those submissions from the questions to the takeaways to the funny stories. That's super cool for me. And I appreciate that. It's vulnerable, I think, to share or ask for people to submit. But that's just been really great. And I appreciate those of you who did that. And I hope that if you're not following me on Instagram, celestial_fit, you do, because I share behind the scenes, I share sneak peeks, and I share things like that to, feature on this show. And I'm hoping to do more of that in the new year as well. I actually have a lot of ideas that I got to get on. So I'm excited to, start playing with that and see what we can do with it. So now it's time to share the 3 questions you can ask yourself heading into this new year. Okay, so like I said, this is from the workshop I did. It was an immersive workshop I did with my on-demand mindset coaching members and all the people who are in my Facebook group. However, only the people in the on-demand mindset coaching memberships, I get the access to it. So you guys are in for a special treat. This is a little sneak peek. Question number 1, it's a reflection question. I love a reflection question to begin with because it gets us in that frame of mind of, what's next? So this one's kind of fun. I chose this one because I want it to be surprising for you, and I also want you to think about it. So what came into your life or did you accomplish that you were open to but weren't expecting? What came into your life or did you accomplish that you were open to but weren't expecting? Okay, so give that one a think. And by the way, stay tuned because there's going to be a giveaway. All right, so keep listening to the next couple questions, only 2 more. Number 2, what is one word or theme that could set the pace for your new year? An example, it could be bold, brave, confident, calm, present. What's it going to be? Last year, I should say this year, 2019, mine was bold. I actually went and I spoke at this event. And I remember this other speaker went up there. He played this video all about being bold and all this stuff. And I remember I just loved that word. It was just hit me. And I was like, oh, I got to put that on my vision board. I got to put that in my head. I got to make that my thing. And that's been really cool. I've been bold and fearless in the way that I approach, so much of what I've developed this year. And I've received a lot of blessings and partnerships and amazing opportunities because of it. So what's your word or theme going to be? Last question. What habits do you need to have in order to make your goals become reality? So rather than just focusing on your goals themselves, I want you guys thinking about the habits you actually have to create in order for your goals to become reality. We cannot create lasting change without habits, right? Because habits are like the grooves in our mind that we ride every single day. It's a neural pathway. So if you can create new neural pathways or stronger connections, you're going to be able to create or sustain the goals and the results and the achievements that you're creating, and then take it even further. So you might set a goal, but in order to achieve that goal, what's the habit you need to have to make it happen? So let's say someone's goal is to become more consistent with their nutrition. They would need a habit. What might that habit be? You gotta come up with habits that are gonna work for you, and make sure it's not something you feel like you necessarily should do unless you actually feel connected to it. Think of it more like your needs, your personal requirements, the things that are actually gonna help you. What are those habits? Okay. So here's the fun part. If you want the rest, first of all, you can join the On-Demand Mindset Coaching membership platform now and not only gain access to this workshop and all the monthly workshops, but you're also going to be a member of the very first place where competitors can go to receive instant support on a specific problem you're facing by going through a stream of questions. For example, let me just walk you through this. You land on the On-Demand Mindset Coaching page, and you click on the portal where essentially you get to go through a stream of questions. Question 1 is going to say, are you in prep or your improvement season? You're going to choose one. Okay. So it's kind of like a quiz. You click on prep. Okay. And then it's going to say, what are you struggling with most right now? It's going to give you a series of categories: body image, food relationship, motivation and discipline, negative self-talk. It's just going to give you a bunch of different goals, whatever. Okay. So you're going to click one of those. Let's say you click on body image. Okay. You're in prep. And then the next question is going to be, what are you struggling most in regard to your body image? And then it's going to give you various things, prep related. And one of them might be, I keep comparing myself to other girls, or I don't think I'm going to be ready, or, all the common ones that so many people have given me. I've actually had a lot of phone calls with people in the development of this and all my other programs, as well as just from all the work I've done with my clients. I've accumulated and put it into this platform, and it's only $9.99 a month. Like, you literally can't beat that. And I will likely be raising the prices this year. Just saying. So make sure you hop on it as soon as possible, because not only will you get access to all of that, but also to the monthly workshops that are live calls. So you get to chat with all the other girls in the group who decide to show up, or you can watch all the replays. The replays are only in that membership platform. Now, I'm not going to turn this whole episode into a pitch fest, but if you want to learn more about that, I'll put the link in the episode on the show notes page, which is www.celestial.fit/podcast. I'll also try to put it on the actual podcast links. Sometimes that doesn't really do so well, but if you click on the episode webpage, it'll be there. Here's the fun thing that I said I was going to do. It's a little giveaway. The first 5 people to DM me on Instagram at celestial_fit with those questions answered. And I mean, like, answered in detail, not just like, 1, what came into your life or did you accomplish that you were open to but not expecting? Getting a free bikini. Like, no, I want to give me the good stuff, expand on it. Don't just try to do it to be the fastest. Do it because you really reflected. Okay, the first 5 people to DM me on Instagram with those questions answered will get exclusive access to the full workshop for free. You won't have to pay anything. I'm just going to give you access to the full workshop, which consists of so many questions for setting up a successful new year, or just goal setting in general. And you can literally do it any time of the year at all. And it's really impactful and powerful. And in the workshop, I even take some of the girls who came on through a series of extra questions to help them. And then you can apply it directly to your situation as well. Okay. So thank you guys so much for, making this a great year. And the support that you guys give is seriously what keeps me going every week. And it means so much to me. And I know it means so much to the athletes as well. And now I need your help. Okay. I said in the beginning of this episode, I was going to tell you how I needed your help. And here it is. Okay. Please message me on Instagram with the athletes you want to hear on the show. Okay. Or email me or whatever. Contact me and share that. Okay. Because when you guys tell me who you want on the show, I can not only reach out to those athletes and say, hey, you're requested on this show, but so many of the people you guys request, let me tell you, I've already reached out to them. Let me tell you, they haven't gotten back to me, or they've gotten back to me and then they don't go through the form that I need them to go through. Because guys, I'm all about giving you the best episode ever. So the athletes need to go through this form. I don't think I've shared this on here, like an application form that I can get all their information and go through their stuff and make sure that we cover topics that they want to cover, as well as what's going to be interesting to you guys. And if they don't submit that, then I can't get them scheduled because I have to ask them, what's the best time and date for you? Anyway, long story short, if you tell me who you want on the show, gives me more oomph in reaching out to them to get them on, okay? Kind of like if someone asked you to go with you somewhere, someone asked you to go with them somewhere, you're like, I don't really want to, but then they're like, oh, but so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, people you love or people you care about want you to be there, you're going to be like, okay, you're going to think about it more, you're going to make that commitment. So that's kind of what I need from you guys there. Also, I want to say, I mentioned in the beginning, but I want to say a special thank you to the patrons who support the show each month too. That's on patreon.com/celestialfit. It makes the production that much more manageable for me. And if you would like to become a patron and learn more about how you can support the production of the show, you can sign up there. Again, that'll be on the episode webpage, which is www.celestial.fit/podcast. It goes a long way. A little goes a long way. Truly believe that, and I appreciate that. So number one thing I want you guys to take away from this episode is not just the questions and the reflections and all the fun stuff, but that I am really grateful for you all. And not a day goes by that I don't wake up feeling excited about the podcast and excited about you guys and appreciative for all the messages and the shares and the reviews and the ratings, all of it. Like, that's what helps me to reach more people with the message and helps us get it out more and support this division. You guys, I have received messages from, like I said, some top people, top professionals in the business or other people who are serving the bodybuilding community who are like, hey, we see what you're doing with the bikini division and we want in. Like, I'm not going to mention their names because nothing's promised, but at the same time, and I don't know what is going to help you guys, is going to benefit you guys. I don't know. So I can't commit to any of that stuff, but it's been really cool because when they recognize that, it means we're really doing something right. And I feel like this is such a genuine platform, such a genuine connection with every single one of you that I have. Like, when I get behind this mic, I feel like I'm genuinely speaking to you. I feel like I'm in the gym with you. I'm on the cardio machine with you. I'm putting away laundry with you. I'm cooking and meal prepping with you. When I ask the athletes questions, I'm thinking in my head, what would my listeners be wondering next? That's why I really try to dig deep because like when I talk to the athletes, I don't want it to just be an interview. I want it to be something where it's a conversation. I want to anticipate what you guys are thinking. So I spend so much time really not just getting to know the athletes, but getting to know you guys. And oh my God, I feel like I could cry. I just am so grateful for this podcast and for this platform and this community. And I love you guys so much and I appreciate everything given me in creating this. And I didn't expect to cry. I'm a very emotional person. I'm surprised I haven't been more emotional on this show, to be honest. But it's not even my 2-year anniversary for this show, but I just feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude. And I know that we're going to do some amazing things together in the new year. If you have any ideas or suggestions or feedback for the show, I'm always open to that as well. I make this for you. I really do make this for you. And granted, there's a lot in it for me in regard to getting my message out there, making an impact, satisfying my core soul codes of, freedom, love, and impact. Those are my core soul codes. But it also gives me an opportunity to help more people, reach more people, help the girls, the competitors, bridge that gap, like I said in the beginning, between mental health and competing. And I'm so grateful for you guys. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the submissions. Thank you for listening to this episode. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy new decade. Happy new day. Happy new everything. I am rooting for each and every single one of you. Let's kill it this year. Let's make our goals happen. Let's have some fun. Let's make everything that we do way better than we ever expected it could be. And with all of that being said, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.